Going on, everybody? It is your boy George Reed. I am here doing another TGIF. If you've noticed, conspicuous by his absence is Mr. Justin. Nurse Justin will not be with us this week, will not be with us next week. Word on the street is he aggravated the toe injury that kept him out a couple of weeks ago. Either that or he's really preparing for this Colts Dolphins game this week. And by preparing, I mean he's already drinking copious amounts of alcohol. Either way, he won't be here. I will be. We're going to be jumping right into the show here. Let's go ahead and get this thing started. All right. Welcome to TGIF. This guy is fragile. As I stated in the cold open, George Reed, I am the host this week. Conspicuous by his absence is Justin. Justin is on vacation. He's really not nursing a toe injury, although something tells me he could probably injure his toe on vacation. I don't put that past him. He doesn't put that past him either. So that's where things currently stand with that. Man, it's been a really busy week. As far as injuries concerned, we get a couple guys coming back, some guys going on injury reports, some guys playing, some guys going off IR. We're going to talk about 79 different players today. And that is a lot, by the way. I don't think we've cracked the 80 mark this year. I think this is the closest as we've gotten. And it is only going into week number 6. I don't know about you. I am particularly feeling the injury bugs in multiple leagues. It is not nice. It is not fun. But it is also a part of the game that causes us to drink. We're going to talk about 7 quarterbacks, 28 running backs, 32 wide receivers, and 12 tight ends. And yes, for those who do quick math, that is 39. If you do the Common Core math, hopefully you get to 79 by the end of the show. We are going to start with, as always, the guys who are not playing this week. This really doesn't matter because they played last night, but Derek Carr is the only quarterback right now that we have listed on the injury experts injury report that covers all 32 NFL teams. They compile all the data from their injury reports, and then they put it out for the general public. That is what I'm using. So, again, thank you to Dr. Jesse Morris, who compiles all this information. Thank you for the injury experts for allowing us to use this information to bring it to you. It helps us become better fantasy players. It helps you become better fantasy players. It is a phenomenal app. Baker Mayfield, Tampa Bay quarterback. Currently a top 10 fantasy option in 6-point per passing leagues. He's dealing with a mild rib injury. He played through it last week. They expect him to play again this week. New England, Drake May made his debut last week. 4 touchdowns for Drake May. Who knew the New England Patriots had the second coming of Patrick Mahomes on their bench? No, I'm just kidding. They really don't. He's got a knee injury. It's a minor knee injury. There's no concerns. They expect him to play. If you happen to pick up Drake May, I don't recommend playing him this week. It kind of reminds me of that game last year where Will Levis made his debut and DeAndre Hopkins had like 75 touchdowns in one game. And then the rest of the year, Will Levis threw like 4 touchdowns the rest of the season. Don't be chasing last week's points with Drake May. Don't trust him in 12-team leagues. There's no reason to be playing him. Joe Burrow with Cincinnati is still dealing with a wrist and a shin injury. The right wrist is fine. He's got a minor shin injury. No big deal. He's going to play. Aaron Rodgers, who somehow within a span of a week managed to get his coach fired and get the Jets to trade for Devontae week for Aaron Rodgers. Let me tell you that right now. He is dealing with an ankle and a hamstring injury. It's his left ankle that is sprained. He's got a mild hamstring. It's going to limit his mobility. Listen, he's coming off of an Achilles injury. He's 41 years old. He is not a mobile quarterback to begin with. Yes, he can move around the pocket. Yes, he does run every once in a while. But at this point, it's not like he was 5, 6 years ago. So there should be no real concerns there. Matthew Stafford, the Rams coming off their bye. He had back soreness. He should be absolutely fine for this week. And then the big one, in my opinion, is Anthony Richardson. He's dealing with a hip injury, an oblique injury, and an abdomen injury. He's got a hip pointer, abdominal strains, and the oblique injury. Going up against the Miami Dolphins, who are coming off a bye, who are also banged up on the defensive side themselves. He is a risky play, but you may not have any other options. I know in Superflex leagues, you're probably rolling with him. I have a one quarterback league. I have to roll with him. I just don't have any other options. But there is risk with him of re-injury. For some reason, the guy's got all the talent in the world. Justin hates him, but he is uber talented. He's typically a very good fantasy play when he's healthy. As Justin would say, that is the problem. He's really never healthy. We're going to move over to the running backs here. We're going to start with the guys who are out. Jerome Ford, Cleveland. He's got a hamstring strain. This is new for him. It's interesting because on the same team, we're getting a returning Nick Chubb. So I was really concerned about Nick Chubb's volume coming into this week because of Jerome Ford, who's been a pretty decent fill-in for him. I thought perhaps maybe they would just be easing Nick Chubb back into a workload. No, I think he's going to get the full workload coming back from this absolutely horrific injury that he suffered. And with Jerome Ford being out, I think he's going to get the full workload, and I think he's going to be a just fine. I would look at Nick Chubb as an RB2 this week, and I would have absolutely no problem. I am starting him in the leagues that I do have him. Jonathan Brooks, there's been photos circulating of him at practice. They have put him in his window to return. It's a post-ACL reconstruction. His debute's probably going to be week 8 or 9. This is a guy who I have in multiple leagues. I've been stashing him. Chuba Hubbard has looked absolutely fantastic. He's been a top 10 running back. I expect when Jonathan Brooks comes back, those two will share a workload there. Don't think if you've been stashing Jonathan Brooks all this time that he's going to come into a full workload and Chuba Hubbard's going to be rendered irrelevant. That is not going to happen. These guys are going to share a workload, but I do expect as the season progresses, as it gets into the playoffs, I do expect Jonathan Brooks to be the lead back there. I expect him to get the bulk of the workload. He is the better running back. He's the more talented of the running backs. Jonathan Taylor. This is another guy who just, man, injuries are killing me. They're killing him personally. He's dealing with an ankle injury. He's got a right mid to high ankle sprain, probably returning either next week or the week after. He will not be playing against the Miami Dolphins this week. Another guy who is out is Cordell Patterson. Nobody was probably starting him anyway, but he is dealing with an ankle sprain. It's likely a high ankle sprain. Other guys who are game time decisions, and these guys are 100% true game time decisions. We really don't know if they're playing or not. Jordan Mason, actually, I can say for a fact I know he is playing. I believe the 49ers have said that Jordan Mason will be playing this week. So that is good for Jordan Mason. He is off the injury report, and he will play versus Chiefs. That's per Kyle Shanahan. Travis Etienne, Jacksonville. He's dealing with a hamstring. It's a new hamstring strain, very mild. Previously had a stinger injury. They've got him listed really as a 25% chance of playing. He's over in London right now with the team. That is something to monitor, especially come Sunday. Not really sure if he's going to play or not. I'm leaning more towards he does not, which would be a good thing if you have a Tank Spigsby. But I don't think Travis Etienne is playing this week. Ray Davis, they have him as under Carolina. I'll have to give it Dr. Morrison tonight. He's with Buffalo. Ray Davis from the Buffalo. He's a game time decision. It's either a calf strain or a calf tweak. They got him as a 50-50. Again, these guys were really not sure. They are game time decisions. Aaron Jones, I heard he was hopeful to play. He wants to play. He said he's going to play. but they still have him as a game time decision. I expect him to play. He's got a right hip injury, possible hamstring, but I expect him to play this week. Brian Robinson Jr., I believe we said that I heard that he was going to be coming back this week as well. What he does is very important for that team. He's dealing with a knee sprain. And Zamir White, he's dealing with the groin strain. It's likely a mild grade 1 strain. You're not starting Zamir White. You can't start Zamir White if he comes back. He's been just so bad this year. Man, I like the guy. I like the dude. It's got a good story, but man, that dude, you had high hopes coming in for him after the performance of what he did at the end of the year last year, and it was just brutal. He's been brutal so far this year. Guys who are also new to the injury report but are expected to play. You got Deonta Foreman from Cleveland. He's probably going to be the Nick Chubb backup. He's dealing with a groin strain. It's a mild groin strain. He's most likely going to play. Oh, I didn't talk about Tajay Spears. I'm sorry, Tajay. Maybe because subconsciously I don't want Tajay to be injured and I don't want him to miss any time. But he is dealing with the hamstring strain. It's new. He's not playing for week number 7. He's been ruled out already. Trey Sermon dealing with a knee injury. It's probably a knee sprain, most likely mild. Good chance he plays. He'll be getting the starting role while Jonathan Taylor is on the bench. Najee Harris has been added due to a rib injury. It's probably a rib bruise. No real concerns. We expect him to play. James Cook missed last week with a toe injury. It's probably turf toe. If Justin was here, he would go into more detail about this turf toe because I heard that was the same thing he was dealing with from the other week where he missed, and I had to put the picture up of him holding his foot. I believe that was turf toe as well. Concerns are mild. There's a mild chance of re-injury risk, but they expect him to be back this week. Bijan Robinson is dealing with a hamstring injury. It's been lingering from an injury from week 4, but he's going to play. Rashard White is dealing with a foot injury. It's a mid-foot sprain. It's most likely mild. They expect him to play. What's interesting about this is they've already come out and said that it's going to be a full-blown running back by committee, and they're going to feed whoever has the hot hand. So you can't trust Rashard White. You cannot trust Bucky Irvin, and you cannot trust Sean Tucker. So 3 guys, they plan on using all 3, and that's a backfield. If I don't have to start any of them, I'm not. Matter of fact, in a 16-team league, I am actually sitting Rashard White this week. I don't need to start him, even as one of my 2 flex options. So that's how bad it is with that backfield. I would like to get some more clarity, but they've already come out and said the clarity is we're going to use all 3 and ride the hot hand. Chase Brown from Cincinnati is dealing with a quadriceps bruise. It's something to monitor, but he's probably going to play this week. I don't expect him to miss any time. Devon Achane from Miami is dealing with a mild concussion. They expect him to be back this week. I expect him to be back. He's going to play. Ramondre Stevenson is dealing with a foot injury. It's a moderate foot injury. It's probably a mid-foot sprain. They have right now is a 0% chance he plays, but they also don't have him as out on the report. They have him as in. I'm not sure what is going to go on with Ramondre, so that's something I will be monitoring. And you can check us out on Sunday for the Title Time show where we answer your start and sit questions and we get a little bit more clarity on these guys that we're really not sure about. Zach Moss is dealing with an ankle sprain. It's a very mild to mid to high ankle sprain. They expect a slight decrease in performance, and if you're Zach Moss, you really can't afford a decrease in performance. Alvin Kamara is dealing with a hand injury. He played last night, sort of. We talked about Jonathan Taylor. Joe Mixon is dealing with an ankle sprain. It's a right high or medial ankle sprain, lower re-injury risk. So they're not expecting, they're not really concerned about him being able to re-injure that ankle, which is good. Sorry. All these injuries are making me want to drink, and I had a margarita in the fridge, so I'm going to drink a little bit of margarita. Um, Brian Robinson Jr., we talked about him. Nick Chubb, we talked about him. Um, he's going to be back. Devin Singletary, dealing with a groin injury. It's a mid to mild re-injury risk with him. These soft tissue injuries, groin strings, hamstrings, ankles, those things are susceptible to being re-injured. It's just something to monitor, just something to be leery of, but they expect him to be good to go. We talked about Zamir White. Unfortunately, we had to. Jalen Warren, dealing with a knee sprain. It's a grade 1 PCL. They expect him back this week. And we talked about the Tampa Bay backfield with Bucky Irvin. He's dealing with a hamstring strain. It's a mild re-injury risk, but they expect him to play. Again, that is a backfield that I really want nothing to do with, even unless I absolutely have to start one of those guys. I just really don't. I don't want to. I need to get another drink. So, excuse me. The reason I needed that drink is because we already talked about the quarterbacks for the Saints. Now we're going to talk about the wide receivers for the Saints. Chris Olave and Rashid Shaheed. Both are going to be out this week. Chris Olave, well, I said this week. They played last night. He's dealing with the concussion. Rashid Shaheed has been placed on season-ending IR. It is a knee injury. It's a torn meniscus. It was repaired by I can't even pronounce that. It was repaired on the 17th, so he went in for surgery yesterday. It's sad because Rashid Shaheed has been a guy that, while coming into the year, I wasn't really high on him. I really wasn't high on that whole Saints passing game at all. But Rashid Shaheed changed my mind. He won me over. He looked absolutely phenomenal the first couple of games of the year. I always said he was just dependent on that one big play. But the problem was he gave you that one big play week in and week out. So that he won me over. Like, the consistency is what it was. So I'm going to miss Rashid Shaheed this year. It's very, very unfortunate for him. Torn meniscus, it just sucks. Jaden Reed from the Green Bay Packers and Dontavian Wicks from the Green Bay Packers. Let's talk about the Packers here. Nate, you might want to tune out. Jaden Reed's dealing with a new ankle injury. There's no real details. It's likely a lateral ankle injury. He should be good to go this week. Dontavian Wicks is a game-time decision. He's got a shoulder injury. It's a mild grade 1 AC sprain. I'm going to get Dr. Morse on for next week. I'm going to reach out to him, see if I can get him on next week. We can go over these AC sprains, get a little bit more clarity, and go a little bit more in depth with some of these guys and the injuries and how it affects them on the field, the recovery time, et cetera, et cetera. Marvin Harrison Jr., concussion. They expect him to be back this week. I believe he's cleared protocol. Deontay Johnson is dealing with a rib and ankle injury. The rib injury is new. It's possibly that it's an oblique. He's got a mild ankle injury. It's likely lateral, but they do expect him to play. DJ Moore got poked in the eye. He's probably fine. A little soreness, but they're on bye this week, so it should be no big deal by the time they get back from bye. Elijah Moore is dealing with a rib injury. He's got a rib bruise. There's no real concerns. Expect him to play. Quentin Johnson and Ladd McConkey from the LA Chargers. Quentin Johnson is dealing with an ankle sprain. He's a genuine game-time decision. It's a moderate, lateral, or high ankle sprain. They have him at 50-50. If it's a high ankle sprain, I really don't expect him to play. If it's a moderate lateral sprain, there is a chance he could play. Wish we had a little bit more clarity on that specific injury for Quentin Johnson. We do not. So it's one of those things where we're just going to have to monitor and tune in Sunday, title time, starting at 10 a.m., and we will give you live updates as they come in. Ladd McConkey is dealing with a hip injury. It's likely a hip pointer or a flexor. He is most likely going to play through it, though. Jawan Jennings has already been ruled out from the San Francisco 49ers. He's dealing with a hip pointer or flexor. Again, same thing Ladd McConkey's dealing with. No two injuries are the same, though. So while they both are dealing with a hip injury or a pointer, one is in, one is out. That's just the way it is. No injury is the same for any player. We're going to stick here with the San Francisco 49ers because there's two other receivers I want to talk about that are on this injury report. Deebo Samuel is dealing with a wrist injury. He likely sprained his wrist. Should play without limitations this week. Not a big deal. And then the other one is a returning Mr. Ricky Pearsall, the first-round draft pick for the 49ers. It should be making his debut this week for the 49ers. Excuse me. It is exactly 50 days, 50, from where he was shot in the chest to him returning to the football field. That is absolutely phenomenal news for Mr. Pearsall. It could have been a lot worse. I've never been shot in the chest. I have been shot at, but not in the chest, and never been hit, for clarification. But I'm glad that he was able to recover. I'm glad it wasn't severe. I'm glad it wasn't life-threatening. And more importantly for him, I'm glad that he was able to return to the football field and to continue to pursue the sport in which he loves. So congratulations to Ricky Pearsall. Really looking forward to having you back this week. Even if you don't go out and do anything for our fantasy teams, I don't care about that. It's just a good story to have you back. Mike Evans is dealing with a hamstring injury. It's likely a grade 1. He still could play, but just something to monitor. Hamstrings, soft tissues. Like I said, those are high risk for re-injury. Alex Pierce is dealing with a shoulder injury. It's likely an AC sprain. They have him as a game time decision, 50-50 chance. I personally think he plays. Juju Smith-Schuster from the Chiefs is dealing with the hamstring injury. There's a moderate risk of re-injury. They're not overly concerned. They expect him to play. Zay Jones and Michael Wilson of the Arizona Cardinals. Zay Jones is dealing with a hamstring injury. Michael Wilson is dealing with an ankle injury. Zay Jones should be making his debut this week. There's a moderate chance for him to re-injure, but they're not expecting that to stop him from playing. How much volume he's going to get, we're not really sure. But he will be eligible to make his season debut this week. Now we're going to talk about a guy coming back, a guy that I have on a couple of teams, and excited to have him back. I was watching a video right before I hit the go live button, and I was watching him run some routes at practice. He looked really good. And that is my guy, Mr. Cooper Kupp. For the Los Angeles Rams, he had a left high ankle sprain. It was a grade 2. There's about 30% chance of re-injury risk on this, according to Dr. Justin Morrison, the injury experts. 50% chance he plays. They have him as a game time decision. I expect him to play, and I hope he does. Cooper Kupp, welcome back. We have severely missed you. Davante Adams, it's funny. I mentioned him earlier when I was talking about Aaron Rodgers. He's been cured, folks. His hamstring injury is gone. Like he got traded from the Raiders to the Jets. He's back with Aaron Rodgers. I heard Jordy Nelson is in contract negotiations to come back for the Jets. I heard David Bakhtiari is in negotiations to come back. Maybe John Kuhn, maybe, if he's available. Mercedes Lewis, what you doing? Big Rob Tunyon. Let's Aaron Rodgers getting that band back together in New York. It's great to see. But Davante Adams, he's got the hamstring injury, 100%. He already said he's fine. Malik Neighbors has got a groin injury and a concussion injury. 100% expect him to play. Khalil Shakir in Buffalo is dealing with an ankle injury. It's a moderate lateral ankle injury. They completely expect him to play, as do I. Michael Pittman Jr. is dealing with a back injury. Josh Downs from the Colts is dealing with a toe injury. The Colts are a banged-up team right now. They got not Aaron Rodgers. Maybe Justin would be happy if they did have Aaron Rodgers. I don't know. They got Anthony Richardson. He's banged up, coming back from injury. Jonathan Taylor is out. You got Pittman, Pierce, Downs. All of them are injured. The Colts are just a really, really banged-up team right now. But Pittman went from possible IR to playing. Maybe they gave him an epidural. I don't know, but they expect him to play. Josh Downs is dealing with a toe injury, probably turf toe. It decreases his ceiling, but they expect him to play. Jacoby Myers for the Vegas Raiders is dealing with an ankle sprain. It's a moderate lateral, possible high ankle. They have him ruled this out already. Jordan Whittington from the Rams is dealing with a shoulder injury. It's probably AC sprain. They're on bye this week, so it's not that big of a deal. Gabe Davis, touchdown, Gabe Davis. 2 touchdowns last week for the Jaguars over in London. They're home away from home. He's dealing with a shoulder injury. It's a mild shoulder injury, probably AC sprain. Again, I'm going to get Dr. Morse on here so we can go into a little bit more depth and a little bit more detail about these AC sprains. But that's what he's dealing with. They expect him to play. Rashad Bateman dealing with the groin injury. They expect him to play. Darnell Mooney having a wonderful season, by the way, for Atlanta. He's got a knee sprain. He's likely to play. A.J. Brown, welcome back. I don't have any shares. I have 1 share of A.J. Brown. I've missed him, but I know a lot of other people have missed him a lot more than I have. He's dealing with the hamstring strain that he suffered on the 12th of last month. They just had their bye. 100% he plays. Trey Palmer, you're really going to start Trey Palmer anyway. He's got a concussion. They got him as a game time decision. This Trey Palmer, you're probably not starting him if he plays anyway. This margarita is actually pretty damn good. I just want to throw that out there. Dallas Goedert, tight ends. Oh, this hurts. This hurts my heart a lot. I have so many shares of Dallas Goedert. He was a tight end that I was targeting in a lot of drafts because I believed in his talent. I believed he was a good tight end. I believe he was a borderline top 8 to 10 tight end week in, week out. But man, he's injured. He injured his hamstring. His hamstring strain, he's out 1 to 4 weeks. Hopefully, for my sanity and my sake, it's the shorter end of that versus the latter end of that. But yeah, he is out this week. That hurts my heart. Tommy Tremble, he's dealing with a concussion and a back injury. He is absolutely out. Taysom Hill, multiple rib fractures. Most likely he's out. He'll probably be back about week 8. Talk about a team that's banged up. Not only are the Colts really banged up, but man, those Saints are banged up as well. Dalton Kincaid from Buffalo is dealing with most likely a bruised collarbone, but they expect him to play. Hayden Hurst from the Chargers dealing with a groin strain. It's probably a mild strain. He's a game time decision. TJ Hawkinson is dealing with his post ACL. Just check your waiver wires for him. If he's not owned, he should be owned in all leagues at this point. He could make his debut either next week or the week after. So if TJ Hawkinson is available in your leagues, I would definitely go ahead and pick him up now and put him on the bench. David Njoku from Cleveland is dealing with a moderate knee sprain, but he is likely to play. Tyler Conklin from the Jets. He's got a hip injury, but he's most likely to play. It's probably a hip point or a flexor. Again, not all injuries are the same. You got guys who are missing time because of this injury, and you got guys who are playing with this injury. So either way, it's one of those things where not all injuries are the same, as I said earlier. Tucker Kraft is dealing with a groin strain. It's most likely mild. I expect him to play. Pat Freiermuth from the Pittsburgh Steelers is dealing with a calf injury. It's a very, very mild calf injury. The guy here has a very low chance for injury. They expect him to play. The number 1 tight end in all of fantasy football, George Kittle, is dealing with a rib injury. Expect him to play, though. There's no limitations on him. Evan Ingram from Jacksonville dealing with a hamstring strain still. He played last week. Expect him to play again this week. He's coming back from that hamstring injury that he injured. It was either right before the game or in warm-ups or practice or something like that. But he's working his way back. So anyway, those are all of the guys on the injury report. And it was a lot this week. 79 names. I was going to bring up a little video where I poke fun of Justin and make fun of him because I like to do that when he's not here. I know he enjoys the laugh. He gets a laugh out of it. He's got a great sense of humor and whatnot. But I'm not going to do that this week. It's been a very, very long week for me personally. Still dealing with post-hurricane cleanup and whatnot. I actually had the tree that fell on my fence removed today. That was fantastic. I'm happy about that. Now I got to go out and fix the fence this weekend. This way my dogs can continue to roam the backyard because, let's face it, as they tell me, it's their yard. So with that, I want to thank everybody for tuning in to TGIF. If you have any start-sit questions, any trade questions, waiver wire questions, any tough decisions that you have to make for your team coming up, remember we have a show Sunday, title time, starting at 10 a.m. with myself. We have Jason. Rich is probably going to be there. David will be there. Mark should be there. I will be there. The whole panel should be there for your start-sit questions. And with that, I want to thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll see you next week.